All right, welcome inside the $100K online writing system. I'm thrilled to have you on board, and you're going to see that this methodology and this system can help you start living the online writing lifestyle, which means that all you have to do is to simply write a few hundred words per day, and then you're done with your day, right? So all you're going to do is simply writing about stuff that you are interested in, passionate about, and then simply growing your business from there. So first of all, what makes this system different? Well, it's an all-inclusive system, which means that it's not just about getting traction on one platform and then, trying to fit different parts of a business together, like kind of a Frankenstein type of business where you take a methodology right here, you take another right there, and then just try to fit all the different parts together. Instead, it's an all-inclusive system that allows you to really build a complete business writing about your expertise. So it uses the framework that I've developed after creating content for over a decade. And, I've tried all different things. I've tried YouTube videos, podcasts, writing articles, writing emails, webinars. And, I've tried paid ads. I've tried almost everything that you can try to build a content creation business and to build a writing business. And at the end, I was just overwhelmed, right? I just had too many things on my plate. And, I wasn't consistent with any of those things because there were just, too many things to do, right? And as you know, when it comes to making money online, like you have all these new shiny, bright, new objects, opportunities that come across your way and you get distracted and you don't have the time to simply stick to one thing, right? However, this system follows a proven blueprint and a proven step-by-step method that you only have to apply and stick to it long enough to start seeing the results. So each business needs to attract eyeballs, right? Which means that you need to attract readers who are interested in what you have to share, right? Number two is having eyeballs is not enough, right? It's a great first step. It's a mandatory first step, but it's not enough because if people merely read your stuff, then nothing is going to happen. Number two, you need to build a relationship with your readers. You need to build a relationship with your audience so that they are willing to buy your products and your services, right? And this then brings us to the last part of the framework, which is convert, right? Which means we want to convert them from readers into clients. So how do you do this? Well, this system will show you an elegant way to do all three parts more or less at the same time. And this system will also give you the most out of the content you create. So the problem is that sometimes when you're creating content, you just think that you have to create new content, let's say for social media. You have to create new content for a YouTube channel. You have to create new content for your emails. You have to create new content for your course, which means that at the end, you end up on a content creation treadmill where you constantly have to produce. And this is overwhelming. And I was at a point in my business where I love creating content, but I started hating it because I just had to constantly come up with new content. And then at the end, you just feel the frustration of, this quote unquote freedom lifestyle start to transform into you being chaining at your desk, trying to churn out content after content each day. And this methodology will help you use blog articles that you're going to publish on Medium as a foundation to do all the three components of the system at the same time, which means that we are going to use your article to start attracting new eyeballs, leveraging the power of Medium. We are then going to use the same articles to write email out of them, right? And then we are going also to use those articles as a foundation to then start creating your info product. The interesting thing is that your articles will help you populate your email list, and the emails that you're going to sell will also help you sell your info products in an elegant way. So it's really a system that is designed to give you the most out of each content you create so that you can stop being on a content treadmill, so that you can only sit down, focus for 2 hours a day, writing a few hundred words about something that you're interested in, and then simply living your life, right? Because you are doing this for the lifestyle. You're not doing this to be chained at a computer with 10 different tabs open each day. Now comes the question, hey, what should you write about? So either you already know what you're going to write about, or even if you already know what you're going to write about, I really want you to understand this, because we are building the fundamentals right here. So number one, perhaps you already have a professional experience that you want to take online and want to share with a broader audience. Great. This is certainly going to help you. A second way to think about this is that you know more than the average person about a specific topic, right? So if you already read more than 3 books on a specific topic, you already know more than 90% of the population around it, which means that you can start teaching it. If you have been doing something also for more than 2 years, this means that, again, you have a unique advantage, and you can teach beginners who are just getting started to shortcut their learning process, right? If, let's say, you have none of the above, then you can simply start documenting your journey on achieving something that is interesting to you and that is appealing to you, and perhaps a problem that you have that you want to solve, right? And in order to achieve that, there is one thing that you have to kick to the curb right now. And this is going to be imposter syndrome, because this is something that we all face in some shape or form. So the easiest way to start eradicating imposter syndrome and simply deleting it from your brain is, as you see this virus popping up, simply telling yourself, okay, I'm certainly not the best at this, right? Because you're always going to find someone who's better than you. However, you have enough expertise to help people reach a specific level, right? So let me just repeat this. You have what it takes to help people achieve a specific outcome, even if you're not the best. Nobody asks you to be the best, right? It's really tough to be the best. And what does it mean being the best, right? Does it mean having the most money, having the leanest body, or doing this or doing that? Well, all these are subjective yardsticks. And once you overcome these yardsticks, you'll be able to really start focusing on what matters, which is helping an audience. As long as you have a genuine desire to helping others, and you already have more knowledge than the average Joe in this specific market, or if you want to start documenting your journey doing so, then welcome. You have everything that you need to start creating and writing content. So this brings me to 2 important parts. So number 1 is solving the right problem. I see too many writers being selfish about writing, right? So they simply think that, hey, I have great insights to share with the world. Let me just, write a journal entry and publish it on the internet. The problem is that nobody cares about that, right? Welcome to the real world. The real world is humans are selfish. Humans care about their problems, right? So can you solve other people's problems? This is what will make you a successful writer or not. So identifying the right problem, this will ensure that people are going to care about your writing. This is what will make people care. Solve a right problem. Is that it's really not about thinking, hey, I think this would be cool to write about. No, I'm not saying that you should write about things that you don't enjoy. I'm simply saying that you need to put your reader first, right? Stop being a selfish writer who kinds of an altruist because he wants to help others. No. That's not how you start writing. You start writing by identifying problems, right? The third point is that you also need to understand the difference between what people want versus what people need, right? So if, let's say, you're helping men losing weight, then what people want is a leaner body. They don't want the diets. So even though in your info product, you might want to tackle a little bit of dieting and that kind of thing, you really want to understand how you're going to capture attention, how you're going to attract readers is by simply understanding what they want, right? And then giving them what they need later on. So all this brings me back to one thing. How can you find problems worth solving? This is the foundation of everything. You need to be able to identify problems or people are willing to pay for. So the first step, I started doing this, and as you can see, I have a lot of things right here because it's simply so important, is to head over to the Amazon best-selling books in your market, right? And why do we start using Amazon? What does Amazon has to do with writing? Sure, Amazon is selling books, but what does it has to do with me writing articles? Well, the reason is that Amazon is a marketplace, which means that people are paying and buying products with their hard-earned money. This is our end goal. Our end goal is to identify problems people are willing to pay for. And on Amazon, you'll uncover whether or not there is a market for the problem that you want to solve. And number two, what exactly is selling so that you can model it, so that you can see what are the gaps in the marketplace. What are the things that are doing well so that I can perhaps, get inspired by that. I'm not talking about copying. I'm just talking about getting inspired. So how do I do this? Well, the first step is that you want to head over to Amazon and type in your niche in the search bar. So you want this to be pretty broad, right? So as an example, SEO, one of my domains of expertise. I simply head over to Amazon, type it in the search bar, select books as the category that I want to search for. And then I'm simply going to look at top 6 results, right? And I'm going to ignore the sponsored results. Okay. And I'm simply going to look at, what are the best books selling right now? So the first book that is quite interesting is this one, right? So 3 months to number 1. So what I'm going to do in the next step is I'm simply going to start looking at the clues of those best-selling products, right? What are those best-selling products telling about what the markets want, right? So as you can see here, I already have a clue in the title, which says 3 months to number 1. Well, why 3 months to number 1? The reason is because SEO takes time, right? Humans are impatient. So here you see that if I can solve the problem of ranking Google fast, I already have a pretty solid problem that I can solve. Number 2 is that I could also look in the outline of the book, right? So Amazon gives you the opportunity to simply read the first chapter of the book. And usually in the first pages, you're going to have kind of a table of content that will show you exactly what the book is covering, right? So as you can see, you're going to find many books that will be kind of an ultimate guide kind of thing, right? So these are not the kind of clues that you want to look for, right? So if I look at this one right here, I see, it talks about the introduction, the basics, the adjective, the goal, the keywords, page tags, website structure, content SEO, blog. So as you can see, it's kind of a workbook and it goes a little bit into many different directions. Talk about link building, press releases, and all that different kind of thing. So this is certainly not something that I'm going to pursue further right here, right? So those kind of ultimate guides kind of thing are not the kind of problem you want to solve. You really want to solve a specific problem. So let's just take a look at the description. So another interesting thing is that you have this book right here. So it's called SEO Entrepreneur, Start a Successful SEO Business. So SEO business, this gives us a unique spin on the problem, right? So right now, it's not just about ranking on Google, but it's also, as you can see here, a blueprint for teaching you how to turn it into a business so that you can be the go-to SEO expert locally, nationally, and beyond, right? More customers, brand awareness, increased revenue stream, and also SEO agency people. So basically, it shows you how to build an SEO agency. Oh, this is interesting. As you can see, this is another take, right? So this is another problem people are willing to pay for. Okay. Now let's just look at the comments, right? So if you look at the comments, I would certainly recommend you to start with the comments that are not 1-star reviews and not 5-star reviews, somewhere in between, right? Between 2 and 4 is usually where you're going to find the best insights. But you can even get insights from 5-star reviews. As you can see, so much noise in the SEO world, communicating the essential, which means that it gives you the 80-20 of what you need to know, right? Simple enough to make you feel it's doable. It's enough to get started, right? So again, what people like right here is the fact that this book cuts through the noise, right? And this immediately gives me interesting things I can explore to then start coming up and solving unique and interesting problems, right? So this is when it comes to looking at clues using Amazon best-selling products to find problems worth solving. But you can also use AI. And I've included the prompts in the handout that comes with the course. And here's a simple prompt that you can use. The only thing that you want to modify right here is what I've highlighted right here in yellow. So my market is, and here as an example is man over 35 who want to lose belly fat, right? So, and then you're simply going to run the prompt. So here are a few examples that I came up with based on this prompt. So get rid of my love handles, right? Flatten my stomach so that I can see my abs for the first time in years. Reducing my risk of obesity, right? Fitting into my old jeans from college. Achieve a leaner physique so that I can keep up with my kids without getting winded, right? So as you can see, it gave us very specific problems because if you look at this right here, it already pointed AI to the right direction, which is like belly fat, right? I could even go broader if I really had no idea exactly what I would like to target, is that, hey, my target market is men over 34 who want to lose weight, right? Or overweighted men with over 35, right? And you simply just take it from there. Simply treat AI and those large language models as way to have a conversation, right? And start talking with the AI, interacting with it and seeing where it takes you, right? But this prompt will already give you pretty solid indications of what people want. Okay. So this is your first assignment in this course, is to find a problem worth solving. Okay. So that's the first thing. So please do this exercise. And once you've done the exercise, we are going to head over to the next part right here, which is now that you identified the right problem, how can you make people get interested in what you have to say, right? And you do this by creating a unique point of view. So this will ensure that people will remember what you write, right? It will also help you to stand out in your market. So please keep in mind, and this is something that I got from the great book, Marketing Classic Positioning. It mentions that you can only position yourself against something. So you have Batman versus the Joker. You have Neo against Mr. Smith. In politics, you have the right versus the left, etc., 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 right? In sports, you have Nike versus Adidas. You have Apple versus Microsoft, and so on and so forth. So the easiest way to position yourself in your market is to simply position yourself against something already existent, right? And usually how you're going to come up with this point of view is by simply from your experiences and your failures, right? What are the things that you tried in the past that didn't work? What were the obstacles that you faced and how did you overcome it, right? What main advice did you follow that didn't work for you? So it's important that this has to be something you truly believe in, and it has to be something that you also truly believe is true. So if you don't know, and if you're stuck about how to find a unique point of view, then there is a prompt that you can use. But before showing you the prompt, I wanted to understand that the more you're going to write about something, the better ideas you're going to get about this, right? You might not have a fully fleshed out system from day one, and that's totally normal. I did come up with my ABC framework from day one. It took me a long time writing about it so that it distilled into so that I could distill those insights. So this is something that is probably also going to happen for you, and that's totally fine. I simply want to plant this seed about you need to foster and come up with this unique point of view. So this will automatically trigger you and start pushing you into the right direction when talking about something, right? There is like no point of simply repeating what's already been said. You want to come up with something that's contrarian, something that is more or less new, and something that will help your audience and your readers overcome their problems in a better, faster, more effective way. So here's a simple prompt that you can use. So the only thing that you have to change right here is simply topic for audience. So As an example, give me a set of 5 ideas that are commonly and widely shared about, let's say, weight loss for men over 30 that are contrarian could easily debunk. Those ideas are so widely spread, they're almost considered cliche. So here is some of the examples that AI came up with, right? So as an example, when it comes to email marketing, focusing only on list size, broad audience appeal, infrequent communications, promote low-cost products to increase conversions, wait for the list to grow before selling or sending emails. All these examples and all these ideas are valid concerns that you could easily debunk if you were writing about email marketing, right? So all this to say that you can easily play around with this prompt and simply start coming up with something. Always remember, you can always start changing your unique point of view later down the road. You can always refine it, and you're certainly going to refine it, right? But for now, I would simply encourage you to start with something unique so that you can make your content stand out from day one, right? So what I would encourage you to do right now is simply run this prompt if you don't have already specific clues about how you could come up with a unique point of view, right? And simply start positioning yourself against a common narrative in your market. So this is the second assignment. Right now, I just also talk about the publishing schedule, right? So there are basically 2 things you want to keep in mind. There is a difference between publishing versus creating, which means that publishing daily or almost daily, like I would encourage you to do, especially when you're just getting started, is not the same as having to create daily, right? Which means that if you batch specific tasks together, you could write 2 or 3 days a week and then basically take off the rest of the week if this is something that you'd like to do. However, when you're just getting started, I would certainly not recommend that, simply because the more you practice, the better you're going to become at the specific task. The more you're going to improve your process, right? The more you can start finding joy in the task itself, the more you're going to identify, hey, I really like this part of the business more than the other one, right? And then you'll also be able to increase your feedback loops, right? So that you know what's working and what's not. And especially when you're getting started, you simply need to put, a lot of gas into the engine to simply start seeing results. That's just how it is. You're building a business here. You're not kind of, scratching a lottery ticket. So all this to say that I would encourage you to simply start writing 2 hours a day, right? And start building your business like that. One of the best ways to be consistent at that is always do it at the same time, right? Always do it. Let's say if you have a full-time job, then start writing before going to your full-time job. You want to dedicate to one specific time slot, right? So I've also included another bonus training that will show you how to build your daily writing habit that will help you regarding to that. So simply check out the bonus for more information about that. And the last point that I wanted to tackle here in this section is simply how to go through this course for maximum results. I would encourage you to simply have a look at how the system works so that you have a 30,000 foot view. Simply go through it, right? And then simply go through it as you are going to start practicing, right? So that you can see the nuances and see the things that you might have missed, right? You will need to go through this training at least 5 to 10 times to really absorb and really understand all the nuances and how to apply it, right? So first run is going to be how elements of the systems work together, and then simply going to dig deeper into doing all the exercises as I'm mentioning them, because I really want you to get results out of this training. I don't want this to be another thing that you're just buying and not putting into practice, right? So this is how I recommend you going through this for maximum result. There were a few assignments in this first section. The first assignment, if you don't really know what to write about, find this out based on what I laid out right here. Number 2 is you want to get clear about the problem to solve, right? Number 3, you want to come up with a unique point of view. Number 4, you want to decide on a publishing schedule. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So please do the exercises before moving further. And I see you in the next part of the training, where I'm going to show you how to find unlimited ideas to write about.